Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk, let's talk. Conversations that cool. Kitchen talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk, let's talk. Conversations that cool. Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about?
Hey, hey, hey!
What's up, good
What's
people?
going on?
How y'all doing?
All right, all right, all right.
Yes,
Friends, look
sir.
who's back in the house.
I know,
We're
good
in
brother.
the
How are
kitchen,
you?
rather. Look who's back in the kitchen.
My guy.
Hey.
What's going on? It's Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that cook.
And they do. That is what they do. Super excited to see you guys. How y'all doing?
Yeah. Another day.
Another day. Yes,
Yeah.
we are definitely grateful.
Yeah, it's just another day.
I knew we was going to get a song tonight.
That
I knew
the
it.
Lord has kept me.
He has. Now don't you start nothing because I don't want to see you running around that room. Get the preaching and carrying on. Yes.
We got some good topics today.
Okay, so I also wanted to talk about, but I don't know if we could talk about it right now. I want to know, what exactly does it mean? I don't even know if we should touch this, but maybe we could touch it a little bit. It's kind of a current event. But what does it mean that the Trump organization has been found guilty of fraud, but not Trump? Or is that just part of the process?
Well, what happens is, so when you create an incorporation or an LLC, it is designed such that it is its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
So that entity can be found guilty of something, and it's not necessarily saying that you're guilty, because that's why you created that company. So the EIN number, that tax ID number for that business, is like a social security number. So that's its own person, that's its own entity. So that particular entity has been found guilty, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Trump or his family are found guilty. You know what I mean? That's a different process.
But now the company don't run itself.
Right.
And
Okay.
it's he also has it as a trust. So it's even harder to go after the individual. But Dr. Scott is completely correct. That's why they shield themselves that way, so that you the individual, are not affected when stuff like this go down. I say this all the time. If you don't know how to play, you're going to get played. And Trump, and I can't say Trump, I would say the people who helped put his organization together, they have helped him to shield himself and his family and whoever from a lot of issues and the situations. But you playing the game. You're playing the game, man.
Yeah. And so what happens is, first thing is, the company, that entity is found guilty, and then you have to go after the individuals who within that company are responsible for those particular actions.
Yeah. So
we need to get to the real juice. That was.
I know you're trying to get there. I just want to ask that question.
We need to. There go JP.
Ask that question. So let's This was such
Right
a
on
hot
time.
topic.
Right on
Hey,
time.
JT.
We in the building. What's that?
Was
So
that?
I was like, we have got to talk. I was actually talking to Jamal about it at work the other day, and I was like, I think this should be a kitchen talk. He was like, yeah. So I asked him, I was like, you gonna jump on and chime in? He was like, no.
About what?
He was like, no. But he had some really, really valid points. But he was like, no, I'm not. But so I know y'all got a whole lot to say. So let's actually tackle the other one first. And
it's prime time. You gotta go with prime time first.
Yeah, you got.
Y'all trying to get there.
Prime time.
I know y'all trying to get there.
Yeah,
I know y'all trying to get there.
My man.
Prime time, baby.
Prime time.
So I did find it very interesting, but I am not as passionate about it as a lot of the comments that I have seen and read and commentary and this and that and the other. And it's like full spectrum, like from one end to the other about how people feel about this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
I don't even feel the same anymore.
Oh, really? Okay, let's get it. JT, what's your perspective?
I was disappointed when he left because I was disappointed when he left simply because of the fact that when he took the job, he came in with God brought me here, and this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change that. And I'm going to do all of these different things. And yeah, I understand that you was trying. He made a little dent at Jackson State. He really did. He made a dent at Yeah, he did.
I would say this little is an understatement, but go ahead.
It is, and it might be. Maybe I'm downplaying it a little bit. He did a lot. He did a lot at Jackson State. I'm gonna say this: he most definitely left it better than he found it.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
I've been saying that statement all week, but go ahead.
Absolutely, put him on the map.
He found it. Athletic wise, he left it better than he found it. I don't really know the behind the scenes with everything that the administration and everything else. I've read some articles that there were a lot of people fighting against him trying to better Jackson State, which I just thought about. I was like, dog, why do we do ourselves like this? And one of the first things he did when he first came in, he was like, hey, we got to change the code. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to learn how to do this with that. And because one thing I do know that he knows, he was like, man, if everybody, the PWIs run their schools like businesses, they run their teams like businesses. If we can get HBCUs on the same level as that and start running things like that, then HBCUs would be better off. Then I
would say this because you hit a nerve on that one. We do run our schools like businesses. The question is, how well are we running the business? How well are we running the business? We run it like a business now.
Yeah.
Is how well you run out. Go ahead, JT. I just have to throw that in.
Yeah. And like you said, we run it like a business. But when you got people at the top not taking care of business, then things tend to happen. All right. So then he leaves, and everybody's upset. I was one of those people because I'm like, as an HBCU, I held on to his every word. And then I started reading articles and everything else. And I started thinking about certain things. And I realized, for one, he's not HBCU. Right. He came from Florida State. All right. Two, reading a lot of the articles, man, there were so many, like I said, there were so many things that he wanted to do, but you got us working against us, it ain't gonna happen. And I think he saw, like, you know what? The change that needs to happen with HBCUs is bigger than me. It's beyond me. And I can't do it by myself. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead. These people offering me $5 million a year, which is way high. And I'm gonna tell y'all this. I'm an advocate. I am an advocate for leveling up.
Right.
I can't stop. I can't be mad at a person for leveling up. I really can't.
Yeah.
I really can't.
Yeah. And Dion,
I'm no longer upset about him leaving. Now I am like somebody else was saying, like, hey, you did what you did, you moving on. But don't try to drag away all the HBCU coaches with you. Because now you're doing what people
see. But see, this is the thing, though. See, and let me jump in, because that right there is a touchy subject.
Yeah.
So I think what most people got to understand is years ago, to coach out of HBCU was like, that's your coaching graveyard. When you coach out of HBCU, you're not getting another FBS offer. You're not going to a Power 5. Yep. So not only did Dion get offered the Colorado job, I need y'all to understand Willie Taggart was in the conversation for another, not Taggart, but Willie Simmons was in conversation for another FBS job. Mm-hmm. So that alone gave light to the fact that HBCU coaches can coach, and they do it in a tough environment. I mean, working at the university, I know people who worked at FAM and then went somewhere else, then worked in the College of Pharmacy. And it's like, whoa, you mean we were making it work without this? Mm-hmm. And we were making it work and making it happen and this, and we get here and they got this and they got that, and it's just so. I mean, I think the thing is too, what we have to understand is first of all, coaches do that everywhere.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's I got an opportunity to level up. Mm-hmm. This man did bring some exposure to HBCU football. He asked the right questions, and so now, we expect him to stay. Put up with our crap.
Yeah.
Put up with our crap, and then don't leave. Don't leave. I mean, how many times at HBCUs does your star program get money taken away from in order to help other programs and do things like that, and to make everybody else feel like they're on the same level as the star program, instead of saying, I'm going to put more money into that program to make sure that program succeeds. Now, Lord knows I love my university, but that happens all the time. Mm-hmm. And how much money is taken out of the football program to put other places instead of going into, and one thing about HBCU
and vice versa, because there's been money taken from other places and put in athletics
because they had to put it back.
You just take it from Peter.
Peter. It's because they had to put it back. Mm-hmm. So one of the things too, we got to understand too at HBCUs, if we don't start paying and doing better, we're going to always be a training ground. Yes. We see that in academic areas where faculty members come, they get training, they get experience, and then they're able to apply and qualify for a job somewhere else that's paying more money.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
I was reading a tweet, and somebody had tweeted about his resume, and I simply said, Deion Sanders used Jackson State as a stepping stone. Well, I know how we feel about our HBCUs. And then somebody chimed in and was like, "Oh, a stepping stone. HBCUs are stepping stones. I'm like, bro, I don't want to say the wrong thing, and I don't want nobody to get mad. But like you said, Dr. Scott, earlier, HBCUs are like a coaching graveyard. He used it as a stepping stone to get experience as a head coach, and he moved on. So personally, my dream is not to coach at FAMU. My dream is to coach at coach the Green Bay Packers or the Miami Dolphins or something like that, or better yet, Alabama, or better yet, the University of Florida. If not, at least get on their coaching staff. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with coaching at the HBCU level because you're doing what you do. But come on, man. You want to level up at some point.
I would say this.
I am like, really?
I disagree in a certain sense because the HBCU is a level. It's not a level down. It's not a level up. In terms of just
that's what y'all sound like.
But okay, let me say this.
I gotta say this.
I gotta answer that. I gotta deal with that. It's not about what you gotta understand it's about perception. It's about perception.
It is about perception. That's why Deion came. He came.
And what I'm saying is, I mean, again, I love my school. What I'm saying is perception was because of mainstream and PWIs and so forth and so on. I mean, think about this. In their mind, HBCU football is secondary.
And that's again, you said it right.
And again, that's not how I feel. That's what I'm saying. That's the perception of those individuals. So when a black coach is at an HBCU coaching, those schools normally don't look at those individuals to come out. You have rare situations, but you normally don't have coaches come out of those situations and go to another school at a Power 5 institution.
Stop.
So it's two things. Number one, when Deion came, he wanted to change the perception. That's one of the things he was trying to do.
Did he want to do that?
Say it again.
I said, did he want to do that?
Yeah, that was
he looking to do exactly what he did.
You know what? The HBCU.
This wasn't his first choice of
It wasn't
of coaching.
But
the other schools,
choice,
the PWIs would not take him until he had some experience.
Correct. So he comes here to say, hey, I want to change the perception that, these guys can play. These guys have ability, and we got to recognize that. And they still do. I mean, a lot of these PWIs are only good because we go to the schools. We go to the schools, Lisa. If we start to say what Deion was saying, to say, hey, you know what? We're going to HBCU. I don't care which one you go to, but we all going to a school to support the culture, to support the university. My problem is not with Deion. My problem goes all the way back to us again. We got to again recognize what we have. We have something great. Deion could leave, and HBCUs will still be banging. And to another level, we could literally take this to another level where now you have people wanting to come to coach for our schools. So we as a culture, as a people, have to change the perception. Deion does not dictate where we are. Listen, the HBCU football experience has a history that is greater than the PWIs. We just don't highlight it. Go to the Black Archives.
You're right. You're right. But let's go back to some of the points Coach Prime would make. Right, Coach Prime would make points about attendance. You know what I mean? So here it is. We talk about black college football, but attendance is not the same. We're not attending the games like that. He talked about the fact of how HBCUs will go to what we would call money games, right, and play these FBS schools, and then we get half the money that some of the other the PWI FCS schools get. They get more money. then we get to go play these same games.
So before Dion came on, I had this same conversation with a great friend, and we talked about the same thing before Dion came, that we should stop doing these bowl games in other people's backyards, going to these money games, because we're essentially losing money. We're not making as much as we can, but it goes back to what JT said. We got to get in the business of our own business.
Mm-hmm.
And Prime really bought that out. I can't say Prime. He's like Coach Prime bought that out. He said, hey, look at it in a different way. And I think with the right leadership, we could steer the boat to a place where even Dion will want to come back. But again, we have to change the culture. There's one thing that he also brought to light, and I got to put this out. People got to do their job.
Yeah.
I mean, down to the person who's cutting the grass, who's cleaning the hallways, who's looking at the cashier, to the counselors, to the provost, to the president. Do your job, and then that's gonna change. If I'm the coach and I say, oh, you say you're gonna cut the grass, and you still didn't cut it a week, and you didn't cut the grass, come on now. We have to be in charge of our destiny, and until we do that, we're always going to look for a savior. And that's why what I didn't like about the Dion experience, as a Black culture, we always look for who's the savior. Oh, Dion is going to come and save us. Dion is not saving nothing that we do. Oh, MLK is going to come.
I don't know, friends. I feel like against all the odds, we are resilient. We are still here. We doing what we do. We making it happen. Y'all make it sound like everything even in across the board, and it is not.
Oh, it's not, and that's why I say we should.
What we do,
but it goes back to what Dr. Scott said. We're running on a shoestring budget, and
we're the only ones with problems and institutional stuff going on. Our stuff just get highlighted.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. You're 100% right.
Lisa, I was thinking about this today. Embezzlement goes on everywhere, right?
Everywhere, right.
But when your budget is smaller, what's taken is missed more than when you have a huge budget.
Correct.
I mean, so it's not to say that this stuff doesn't go on at other institutions. It's just that they have enough financial support, financial backing, that when that money goes missing, someone writes a check to cover what's missing, and they keep going. And don't miss a beat, right? But I'm just telling you, I'm just dealing with the fact of, okay, so when you look at this, and you look at salaries, right? So we have to do better with salaries, and not just the head coach salaries. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about assistant coach salaries, right?
Yeah. Oh Lord.
You know, you follow what I'm saying? Their salaries are very low, and so again, you got to understand, it's not me saying, oh, HBCUs are this and HBCUs. I love my HBCU experience, but at the same time, if we're going to be real, there are certain issues that we have to really tackle and deal with.
And Brother Scott, one of the things you stated is, it's the salary, but for me, it's actually the whole experience. For me to elevate the salary, I got to elevate the programs. I got to elevate the experience from the student to the alumni. So when I elevate that, now the alumni say, you know what, I want to give back. Now the student, once they graduate, I want to give back. Now I have more dollars that I could put back into a system that we're trying to build. So it goes back to how we started. It's a business.
How about we just start giving back, period, to help? But we don't do that. They give back regardless.
We cannot give back money, and the money goes just disappears.
It's like what Dr. Scott said. It hurts too much when you get a little something and it's gone because you was waiting for that little something to come in.
The money is, you don't even, FAMU boosters don't even know where the money at. Come on now.
But you know what?
You act like that don't have across the street.
You know, it's even happening in our government right now. They don't even know where something $1 trillion is.
Lisa, and you're right. It goes on in other places. It goes on everywhere. But at the end of the day, it's like this. In order for me to fix my issue, I can't point out what you do wrong.
Correct.
I got to still look in the mirror and own up the fact that, you know what, you're right. I got to fix it.
I get that.
Yeah. So it's not that we're saying that this stuff don't go on at PWIs. Right. We're dealing with the fact that people are upset because Deion left, and we're dealing with the fact that like he left HBCUs and like he sold out.
Correct.
You know,
people do feel that way.
And that's what we're dealing with.
The crazy thing is, we look at our athletes when they leave. After they've done a great season and blah, 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 we want them to leave and elevate. Mm-hmm. We should do the same thing for the coach. You know what, coach? You did a great job. We appreciate you. We go ahead and go keep it moving, and we got somebody else to come in and take. We miss out as a culture. We miss out on a piece of passing the baton.
Yeah.
We do in our elections. You know, I got to bring the voting back. We did it with Barack. We continue to do it in so many ways. We don't think about who gets the baton next. We don't set up the next person to take the role.
And go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
But I was going to say, but there's also a way to do it too. There's also a way to pass that baton. There's also a way to walk out the door, and it's a way to move on. But I can tell you this: I don't know if you paid attention to Twitter today or your Facebook feeds, but Mississippi Valley State woke up and they didn't have a head coach anymore. It's gone, and they found out Deion got him. And I'm like, wow. I don't think that was a good move, but. Once again,
but JT, hold on. Look at it again, JT. It's again elevation. One of the things we also fail to remember is if I could move up and I could bring some of my own people up too, why not? Because I have a legacy set up.
You go from being a head coach to an assistant coach.
Because they make more money.
They more money. They're making more money.
In the Mississippi Valley State. Man, you might as well be going to school in Wausau or Waukena or
and
Perry.
That's how Jackson State started.
Yeah.
So
Deion said this thing was a broke down high
on the flip side of that, let me say this. On the flip side of that, Alabama defensive assistant coach, defensive coordinator. Guess what? Deion hired him.
And listen, it makes sense. If I'm going to move up, I want to take some of the best of the best. From where I'm, listen, you can't even be mad. He's taking people from HBCUs. And it's not like we're running out of coaches. There's an abundance of Black coaches who could take their spot and do an amazing job.
And what I'm saying is that happens as far as taking coaches, going and from other teams or whatever. That happens all the time.
All the time. You know what? The crazy part is I was watching ESPN. I cannot remember the name of the coach. Caucasian guy. He just got fired from one job. And not even a week later, they found him a new job. You always land on your listen.
Not to cut you off. Mike Zimmer got fired from the Minnesota Vikings. You know where he was the next week? Jackson State at coaching for Deion. And man,
but now let me say that though, he wasn't getting paid though.
Oh, you don't think he was? Well,
he wasn't getting paid.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah.
Once again, though, they find a space for who they want to find a space for. Yeah. And we should do the same. If Deion says, "Hey, I got opportunities for you," this is like lifetime opportunities. Not a lot of Black coaches make that type of money in coaching.
Yeah. So Willie Taggart got fired, and guess where he at right now?
He with Deion.
Deion.
And Willie Taggart is another example of that. He had that opportunity at Florida State, and then go to another school, and then still you got to get listen.
Bogus opportunity.
I tip my hat to them because they making.
Yeah. So
they're doing the same thing that others have done.
I guess I have a question, right? I guess this would be a question as we talk about it, right? And again, I do understand how people, you know, feel in the sense of when you listen to the conversation and how Deion was talking, you know, but he kind of put it out there in the sense of if the right job offer comes along, I would have to consider it. You know, and if he was at Florida Atlantic and left to go to Colorado, would we still be saying the same thing?
Correct.
You follow what I'm saying? But I guess my question would be too, as we look at it and think about it, what did Deion do different to make the #1 recruit in the class of 2022 come to Jackson State? You follow what I'm saying?
It was because he was Deion, probably.
Because he was Deion, but he presented the fact that, look, if you come here, I'm going to still get you there.
Correct.
Now, this is the thing.
So now does he go to Colorado with him?
He's going.
That's kind of where I get like, you know.
But this is the thing.
Like how are we supposed to? I'm trying to use y'all language, level up or come up as a HBCU and not be the HBCU graveyard coaching thing.
And see
that's
so I love that Deion is taking
those type of players.
I love that he's taking
move them to a PWI.
I love it. I love that he's taking them.
This is the thing. This is the thing. Because of the transfer portal, even if Deion wasn't taking him, he still could have got in the portal and went somewhere else.
Correct.
There are over 3,000 to 4,000 kids in the transfer portal right now as we speak.
Yes.
And that's
and a lot of those players, and a lot of those players who are like top players, they're going to other Power 5 schools, and the other guys, hey, look, they're trying to find where they can go, this, that, and the other. I think one of the things, and this is just me, I think one of the reasons people are upset with Deion is because he presented the hope of, okay, if he can get the #1 player to come to an HBCU, maybe another player would go to another HBCU, another top player, and getting those players to come. And I think the experience at an HBCU, as far as being a student there, is a great draw. But at the same time, there are other factors that need to go. Students like facilities. Listen. I done been around it. I know kids. Listen, you can say a squat is a squat, whether you do it in a 35,000 square foot facility or a garage. It's still the same thing, and it's gonna get the same results depending on how hard you work. Right? You could say that till the cows come home, but them kids like that 35,000 square foot facility. They like the uniforms. They like all those things. They like to be able to go into the locker room and look at all that stuff. And you see what I'm saying? So again, it's the experience of an HBCU and the education that you get. I mean, it's second to none. But we're talking about this. We're talking about strictly football, athletic, sports.
But and that's where I wanted to interject, because it's not strictly football. When you talk about the HBCU experience, you're talking about the band, you're talking about the set, you're talking about the party.
That's what you're talking about. That's what you're talking about.
This is what the kids want to see when they come. I had two.
Listen, what you gotta say. I done took kids on college trips. I done took them to visit. And yes, all that stuff is good. But I'm telling you,
athletes
is an athlete.
The athletes do want to see a top-notch facility, but they also do enjoy what all that happens outside of the locker room.
You're right, but I'm just telling you.
You cannot take that away. You cannot take away the classroom experience, the set experience, the band experience. It's different on an HBCU campus, and when you present that to other folks, they're like, "Oh wow, I see it."
I hear what you're saying, but if that was such a great draw, and that was what they focus on, then you will get more of those high quality, high caliber players to come because, oh, we want that experience.
Well, see, there's the other piece to that is I'm willing to sacrifice that experience because I'm going to get seen by hopefully a scout to get me to where I want to go, my end goal. And a lot of these guys don't understand that you can still get that here at home. And that's what Deion came to try to prove. And to me, he has. The question is, again, what do we do to continue that as a HBCU family?
I mean, it really, the kind of thing that saddens me is that we just continue to make the PWI the golden ring, the standard.
And I'm
not. Hold on, let me finish.
Finish him.
Let me finish. It is obvious in some respects that is, the ultimate, the brass ring is the play for the PWI so that I can be seen by the NFL, so that I could then, go on to that aspiration and that dream of playing professional football or whatever it is. And you may or may not, more likely not, get that kind of exposure at an HBCU. France, I've been around football all my life. I done seen it. And I'm not saying that HBCUs don't have professional footballs. My daddy coached plenty of them that went on to NFL. I get that.
Correct. But the problem is, Lisa, those don't get highlighted, and that's what you miss.
But my point is that overall, the majority of it is let me get to what y'all say, the Big Five. Let me get there. Why? So when are we gonna be able to put a HBCU in the Big Five? When does that happen?
We don't need to.
That's never gonna happen.
Can I say this?
No, we don't need to. Again, we gotta stick with what we have and develop what we have to continue to make that the gold standard.
Okay, so all right. So let me say this, right? So exposure, right? So you're talking about exposure because again, what I'm saying to you, please understand, I'm not saying that those schools are actually better, right?
I know you're not saying it.
Yeah, but it's perception. Right. So this is one way. For example, right? Exposure, TV, right? TV coverage, that type of stuff. Well, why would ESPN come to FAMU and cover a game if the game ain't sold out and the stadium only holds about 30,000 people, but the game ain't sold out? And you see what I'm saying? So it's about those things. It's about getting people in the seats. It's about selling tickets. It's about those things. I mean, think about it. Normally, when we go to the Florida Classic,
which was sold out.
When Bethune is doing well, we were sold out. This year we had only about we only had about 55,000 people there.
It was the second highest attended game this year. So
are you talking about for FAMU?
No, for all Black college football.
It wasn't.
I was talking about that with a friend.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
I could pull it up for you.
Pull it up.
It was not the number one, but it was one of the top.
See, now you changed it. It was one of the top, but it was not the top, and it wasn't number 2. The top
game, I believe, is the Bayou Classic. I'm gonna pull it up.
But all I'm saying is this, right? So like when we played Jackson State, right? That game didn't have as many people as it should have had. Right? That game had about 29, almost 30,000 people. But that was like one of the highest attended games of HBCU football. And that only had, like I say, about 29, 30,000 people there.
I also want to say this as well. It's hard. It's really hard to say it. But another thing that I saw that I know that Deion wanted to change was how HBCU players are seen and how they get drafted. Now, I had this discussion with somebody else. If you paid attention, if you watched the draft, I watched the draft, right? He brought exposure to HBCU players. But once again, the NFL is a business, right? The NFL, what do you call them? The general managers, if you paid attention, they did what they always do. They waited until the 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th round to draft HBCU players. Now, Lisa, I don't know if you're following me, but let me help you understand this. The first 2 rounds, round 1, round 2, those are guaranteed contracts. You automatically make the team. Anything after that, you can make the team and it's better for you. But when you talk about 5th, 6th, 7th round, they drafting you so you get a tryout.
That's it.
You get a tryout. You see what I'm saying? You get a tryout or you get a free agency spot. Now, once again, Bell from FAMU, he went to the combine, tore it up, did well at the East-West game. Mel Kiper is their guy.
Yeah,
he took all his trash. Okay, Mel Kiper had him marked as like the number 2 safety coming off of Mel Kiper's big board. This boy didn't even get drafted. He didn't even get drafted. Why? The general managers are saying, why would I waste a spot on a kid that's not guaranteed? This boy they've drafted a dude from Baylor, 1st round, I ain't never even heard of.
Yeah.
Dude, 1st round, I ain't never even heard of.
Because what they're saying is the caliber of HBCU football, the level of talent ain't as great. So you might be playing well, but then they're gonna say, well, the level of competition that you're playing against isn't that great, right? Yeah. And so you can have a Steve McNair that go to Alcorn and he stands out or whatever, Jerry Rice, you got those few players, but overall they're saying the caliber of player, the level of competition ain't the same in HBCU football. And so when you look at the playoffs, look at FAMU, 9-2 and don't make the playoffs, and then you get a team that's 7-5.
Montana had 4 losses and made the
playoffs. Why are they saying that? They're saying because the level of competition at those schools are higher than the level of competition at HBCU. And so what has to happen is, again, one, in order to get more exposure, we got to start getting more fans in the seats. And then 2, we have to play some of these other FCS schools that are supposed to be good schools, right? So that we can show that we not just compete, but we beat them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So, and I agree with you, Brother Scott, in terms of playing some of these other schools. Just to get this back, 500,000 fans in 2022. This is all of college football. But one of the things we also have to look at is we got to support home. So how many Florida State games, UF games, and this games that we go to when we haven't even been to our own home games? You got people who graduated from these schools and still haven't gone to their own home games. We got to support home first. Number 2, the game has changed. And Deion has shown that. You don't need to be on ESPN for them to find you. They will find you. There's social media has changed the game for these guys.
And you're right, but
we can't just say, "Oh, we gotta wait for it." We have an opportunity to build our own. You know, I keep going to Marcus Garvey. I don't know why.
But this is the thing, though. This is the thing, right? Deion creates exposure for his top players because he got his own YouTube thing and I mean,
and the players do too. The players,
right, but I'm saying so he's creating that chatter, that noise, and they consistently do that. So, but other coaches, every coach don't have that personality. I think Coach Willie Simmons is a great coach, but that's not his personality.
It don't need to be. It don't need to be. What needs to happen is what has happened. Look, FAMU has a great fan base, but we can continue to take it to another level.
France.
JSU, Southern, all these schools have great fan bases.
Can I ask you a question, France?
Yes, sir.
You're an NFL general manager. You coming down. It's your pick. You on the board, right?
Right.
Dum, 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 dum. The little noise that they got on the bottom of the thing.
Right.
For the NFL draft.
Right.
You're the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right.
Next round, the first round pick goes to Jacksonville Jaguars. Next up, after that is who else be sorry all the time? The Raiders. Okay. You're up in that war, and they call it the war room, right?
Right.
You're in there.
Right.
Shad Khan, who is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is sitting in there. He looking you dead in your face. Who you gonna pick? We got a safety. We got a safety out of Alabama. We need a safety real bad. We got a safety out of Alabama who tearing it up, and we got a safety out of Benedict College who tearing it up. Who you gonna draft?
The person out of Benedict. Well, first I have to do the numbers. One of my favorite movies. And I gotta be honest with you. One of my favorite movies is Moneyball. If you haven't seen Moneyball, you gotta watch it. Moneyball talks about really understanding the numbers to develop the best team possible. So if I'm the guy, and if you're the owner and you hired me to do the job, I'm not just picking him because he went to Bama. I'm picking him because he's the best guy on the field. He's the best. Everybody's not like me. Everybody's not like me. They're gonna go with
you. Cannot add.
They're not like me. There's a lot of sheep in the world. Like Mr. Royce is not a sheep.
You do know
who he is. He can fire me today.
You know those owners do, right? When you grab back choices, you get fired.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Lisa, you know what happened after he did that?
I'm fine.
He fired.
Fire me. I'm fine with it. But I made my point. I'm okay. See, one of the things that we also fail to realize is if the guy, there's a movie on Netflix you should also watch. Adam Sandler is the lead. He's going out in all these countries to find. Very good movie, and it goes straight to the point of that. The new owner was the son, and he was like, "Oh, you need to do this? Hell nah! This is who I want to pick. He's the best guy. If you don't want to go with it, Lisa, I'm sorry, I have to put this out there." He said, "Kiss my ass."
Listen, okay, so I had a cousin. I have a cousin who was a scout for the NBA, right? And again, very thing, you go out, you find players. Yep. Now it's important that the coach gives the player you find a chance, because one, that helps you because it looks like you're finding talent. But if the coach don't like the kid and don't play him, then guess what? You
wasted time.
You wasted time.
But again, Dr. Scott, if you hired me and I was the coach, you hired me to go out. That's why I like the father. The father said, "You're the guy. I'm hiring you because I know you could do the job. The reason you hiring me is because you know I could do the job."
You also talking about a movie somebody wrote.
And again, in real life, Mr. Moise is still that same way. If you don't like it,
Mr. Moise might be
correct.
But this whole systematic system is not
right. And so, Lisa, and so one of the things
to me.
One of the things that we have to do in order to combat this, and again, it's already been said, not on this show, but Dion said and others have said it. If you want to combat what's happening, then ownership also has to change.
Correct.
You're not going to tell a billionaire who to pick with his money.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean?
You're
not going to be able to tell a person. I mean, when they get that level of money, some of them basically get this godlike complex because now there's nothing they feel like can be withheld from them. Right?
Go ahead.
So and one ways to deal with this is like in the movies. If you want more black people in the movies, you got to get them behind the screen. You got to get them the directors, the producers, the writers. If you want to see more content that you want to see, well, in the football, it's the same thing. Then you know what? We got to get in ownership.
And well, we got to also get in coaching. You got to get more black coaches.
But again, listen.
It's who got the money.
If I hire a coach and he's a black coach, he still can be handicapped because of the system that he's in. If you want more black coaches, then you also need more black ownership.
Ask Willie Taggart, who wasn't given but half a season to turn it around.
I know, right? I have seen there was a few black coaches, and I hate it. And I've seen it. There was a guy that a few years ago that got hired at the University of Texas, Charlie Strong. Great coach. Did his thing at Louisville, which he should have stayed at Louisville, but he went chasing that bag. This dude got hired at Texas. Do you know what they told him? Okay, we're glad you can bring this guy and this guy. We'll hire the rest of them. So this is what really happened was they put people on his staff that went against his philosophy of football, causing him to fail. It was like they was working for the University of Texas. They would work for him. And on top of that, oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, well, I hear that, but again, so then I would have to ask the question, did the same thing happen at the University of South Florida? Because after he left Texas, he went to South Florida and not so good. I think you said it earlier, he should have stayed where? At Louisville. You got to understand, you got to understand what system works best for you. It's like Scott Frost, white coach, did a great job at UCF. Guess what he should have did? He should have stayed at UCF. He went to Nebraska and could never get it turned around. Could never get it to happen.
Do you know why?
Why?
The caliber of athlete that you had at the University of Central, you are in the bed. You at UCF, right in the middle of the state of Florida.
Some of the top talent in the world.
You went to Nebraska and thought you was gonna get them same players to come. Man,
they're not going to Nebraska. And that's what I was saying to you earlier, Doc. They may go for a semester or two, but as soon as they get that Nebraska coal and that Nebraska corn, they are on that portal. They're out of there.
But let me ask you guys this. I read another post that talked about the establishments and how they were beginning to feel that Deion was a threat in the fact that he was, I guess, getting players to come to HBCUs and things like that, and they just kind of talked about how they neutralized him by taking him to the PWI.
Well,
which is par for the course.
Right. Let me ask this question real quick, because and this to your point, Lisa. You remember? Have you seen the movie "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker"?
Yep.
And so you got the guy who's the radical, and his wife. He's Muslim or whatever, but he got a white wife, and she made the bean pie and all this stuff, right? What he said, they went and they were raiding the Capitol. And that day they were what? They were hired. So brothers left with jobs.
Yeah.
He said the brothers went with guns and they left with jobs.
And so you are right. And the best way, because again, they didn't take Coach Prime seriously. They didn't understand the level of motivator that this man is. You know what I'm saying? And so when he started doing what he was doing and he got the #1 recruit, they realized if he stayed, the balance of power as far as getting the top talent, it was going to shift. Because it's like this. What makes Georgia?
So then why not stay?
Because
the bag, Lisa.
And I know that.
No, listen.
But some people are saying, "Oh, he leveled up." Y'all just said it. Oh, he
that is
leveled up.
leveling up.
That is leveling up.
That's
I
leveling
get
up.
it. But what
5
I'm
million
saying
a
is,
year.
why not stay and help shift the balance of power? Who's gonna do that?
Because listen. It's you may
Who's
want
not
to do
gonna
that.
chase the money?
Hold on, Lisa.
Shift the balance of power. Who gonna do that?
You may want to do that, but when you have to fight the very people that you're trying to help,
yeah.
I mean, where is
Well,
it
in that case, I'm leaving the black church.
I've been told you that.
people been doing that all the time.
But I'm not gonna do it.
I've been telling you that, Lisa.
And I also say this: what people still leave out about.
I'm not gonna say that's the black church. I'm just saying I'm leaving the whole thing and just do my own thing. Period. If that's the case, because you fight in change, you fight.
It's part of the process.
White, black, or other.
You fight.
Change.
But Lisa, it's not just.
I understand that, Lisa. I understand that. But again, when you're in a situation, and again, I don't know. I wasn't there at Jackson State. I don't know everything that go on. I know some of the things that some of the coaches here deal with. You follow what I'm saying? So I could just, at the end of the day, it's sometimes you just feel like, when I'm doing this and I'm doing X, Y, Z, and I got to fight over here and fight with this and fight with that and fight with that. I shouldn't have to fight where? I shouldn't have to fight here. I shouldn't have to promise half my salary to get a facility built. That should be the universal responsibility in the first place.
I shouldn't have to take out my own lawnmower to cut the grass.
Yeah. But also
didn't want to do their job.
Can I also say this thing about?
Go ahead, JT. I got some
about back to what you were saying about the number one recruit. People still forget, and they still leave out that Deion was able to secure a $1 million NIL deal for that kid.
Yep.
That kid got paid. Don't get it twisted. And I try to tell people all the time, and we've had this discussion amongst other people. That dude got paid to go to Jackson State.
Yeah.
Deion can say he sold him on coming to Jackson State because I'm the greatest cornerback to ever play the game. But that kid still got that $1 million NIL deal.
Right. Listen. And Nick Saban got upset because now he wasn't able to pay the kid enough money.
Yeah.
So I gotta bring this back too, because again, you even said this, Dr. Scott. It is bigger than Deion. The HBCU experience is bigger than him. And that's why we got to move on past this. I got some data for you. Now, the number one school that had the highest attendance this year, the two schools, Alabama State versus Alabama A&M. Number two, Grambling State versus Southern University. Number three, Florida A&M versus Bethune-Cookman. Number four, Prairie View A&M versus Grambling State. Number five, Southern University versus Jackson State University. I just wanted to show you how far Deion was at. Number 5 on that list. So we are tracking. People are coming to the games. People are supporting.
But I think what you got. Hold on. But
before Deion.
Hold on. Wait. What you also got to go back and look at is this: is how many people were at the games. Those two games.
No, they give you the numbers.
The top two games had like 60-some thousand people. FAMU game had 55,000 people, and then after that. It dropped.
55, 55, 53, 51, 51, all the way till you get to number 8 when FAMU played Jackson State in Miami, 39.
29.
And then, you get into the 35s.
And notice the games that they talk about. We consider them like rivalry or classics. We build them up to be more than just a home game.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So well, what I'm saying is, fam, you can hold the stadium, fam, you can hold 29, 30,000. So our regular home game should have been bigger than the Jackson State game.
And that's the push that we need to do as a culture, as a university, as a leadership team, to say, hey, you know what? We don't have to go to Orlando to do these games, or Atlanta to do these games. We could bring these games to our own towns and make that revenue.
The stadium ain't big enough for that, though.
Yeah.
JSU, no, not JSU. Alabama State built a phenomenal facility. What we have to do, they built a phenomenal facility.
I didn't hear they what?
Built a phenomenal facility.
Their stadium is a nice stadium, and we have to do the same. We have to invest, and guess what? It was not just them as a university. They also had the state legislators support them. Florida State, we just had that last year. We talked about this on the show. Florida State got all this money for already a great stadium, and then you give FAMU pennies.
You talking about my fun again? Playing field.
Can I say this? One thing that Deion also said when he first got to Jackson State is that we have to use our resources.
Correct.
FAMU, am I lying, or was it just a myth that Dodge or Coca-Cola tried to build FAMU a stadium, and they turned it down because it wasn't going to be Bragg, or because of naming rights?
The naming rights.
Naming rights. Deion said you have to use your resources. So you have resources.
100%. But we also have resources that already belong to the school. Those tax dollars should be going to the school. It shouldn't be off balance that much. When it's that much off balance, this is your own resources that you should have. This is your tax dollars. The problem is we keep voting for the same knuckleheads who keep taking away the resources that already belong to you.
But once again, remember Miss Kim Black said this. Shout out to Kimberly Black. I don't know if she's watching or not. The same people that we voted for it and was supporting this and was supporting that, talking about FAMU, talking about Florida A&M. Soon as they got in office, guess what they did? They voted against.
So again, that's why we got to be vigilant.
Yeah,
we got to be vigilant. Dr. Scott, I love it. Not only is it on the field, but it's a wraparound service. We got to look at it from 360 degrees for it to continue to elevate to it. Listen, if he stayed, he just started working. There's so much more left to do. And I hope whoever takes his spot can continue to do it. It's not going to be like Deion, but hopefully they take that baton and push it to another level. We don't have, the only savior that I know is Jesus Christ. Everybody else, my friend, could be replaced.
Yeah, man. This right here. Not to cut you off. This right here is, if it really gonna go down, this is Willie Simmons' chance to go ahead and take this thing over, and dominate Black college football and become the new face of Black college football. Because I can say this: Deion was the face of Black college football, but now I don't know if anybody's been paying attention. Jackson State's football players been hitting the transfer portal. The commits that they had, they've decommitted. This is if Willie Simmons, if he does stay at the University at Florida A&M University, hey, what I'm doing is I'm going to snatch his players. Come on over to FAMU.
Part of the game. That's part of the game. You're 100%,
baby. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Come on over to FAMU. We were the second best team. We were the second best team in HBCU football. Come on over.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I do think
that's the recruiting war right there.
Yeah.
But they do that every year. Every year it's a challenge to see who's going to get the best player. and that's part of the process. So that's why I'm not mad that Deion left, because that's part of the process.
Part of that's it. At the end of the day, coaches come, coaches go, coaches try to get
players go.
They try to get more money, all this. So yeah, that's part of the process. So I'm not, me personally, I'm not mad with Deion. Did I wish he would have stayed? Yeah. Did I love what was happening? Yeah.
They got a lot.
I see it, Yvette. And I'm telling you, and offer what?
I don't know if they had a $5 million to offer.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, fam, you're gonna have to pony up. Because if I'm not mistaken, Willie Simmons is going into his final year of his contract. It's gonna come down. Hey, listen, I got these other jobs out here that's pulling on me. Let's go. Hey, if y'all want me to stay, you have to give me a little bump.
At the end of the day, if you got it, go get it. I'm sorry. You got it, go get it. Unless they give him something different. And guess what's gonna happen? This is one of my phones right now. One monkey is not gonna stop the show, baby. We still going to the games. We still going to support it. So I'm sorry. One monkey don't stop the show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna dominate the SWAC.
We're gonna kill it. Hey, you know what's crazy, man? They played that as the game was ending the other day for Deion. Oh my God. You talking about wow.
If you're gonna leave, go ahead and leave. And I want you to leave on good terms. Because here's another piece that a lot of people didn't talk about. If Deion was giving half of his check when he didn't have that much, how much you think he might give back when he got $5 million in his pocket to say, hey, let me give back to the school that got me started. Let me give back to the community that I love so much. Let me give back. There's other ways of giving back.
So apparently, though, when I was talking to Jamal earlier this week, he has worked out some kind of partnership with JSU and the Colorado team. I don't know. Don't quote me. I don't know what it is, but Jamal.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The partnership is probably is if they ain't cutting it at Colorado, we'll just kick them down the yard.
I don't. I have to ask Jamal what it was, but he was saying something about some kind of deal or whatever.
And let me say this: there's still some other great coaches. If you go to TSU, what's my guy at TSU coaching there?
Eddie George, another great football player, come in and say, you know what, let me give back. You got a lot of other guys who played in the league who want to come back and coach. So don't get it twisted.
What happened to the coach that stayed? Like when Bobby Bowden at Florida State for like 10,000 years.
Listen, those days are done, man. They don't do
that no more.
They do that, but it's only like that if you win that.
Like, so, I'm just like, what's the never mind. Listen, we ain't even get to the other trade agreement.
Big trade today, but it was a good trade, but a bad trade.
I do not understand how that happened.
Yeah.
But I am glad that is it Garner?
Yeah, Brittany Garner.
Brittany Garner gets to come home. That's great.
Yeah,
because that seemed like such an injustice to me.
All the way around.
Yeah, so I am, but the weight of it seemed a little off.
Yeah, that scale most definitely was not balanced.
No.
Let's see, some CB oil, whatever she had, and an arm stealer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all gave them Thanos, and we got a dirty mop bucket in a brown paper bag. We're talking about.
Oh,
It seemed a little, So, and then they were saying that
Squirrel Girl.
the other guy that's still over there, I can't think of his name. That
Marine.
It's he was a reporter or
yeah, he's been there before her.
Yeah, they would not. It was either her or nothing. They wouldn't even add him to the deal. Like,
well, you know, again, one of the things we have to look at is optics. Again, optics. Okay, we want to get her in because it's the NBA, and we want to highlight, you know, blank, blank, blank. Just all the way around, it was not a win-win situation. That's what I was trying to say earlier with the Dion thing. You got to look at it as a win-win situation, and a lot of time, as in our culture, we don't see win-win. We either see one person win and everybody lose. In her situation, that was not a win-win. And man,
Van Wilson, you are correct.
Well, I put that back up. I just missed it. Man, it's not even Putin. We got to play the chess game a little bit better too.
Yeah. Well, just Russians.
And again, I know she's loved, and you know somebody's glad she's back. And again, I mean, I don't think 9 years didn't fit. But again, you making a trade like that. I'm just curious. They're getting the person who could possibly do damage to to millions of people.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It don't have to be millions, Brother Scott. Just one.
Yeah.
One. And sometimes we miss out on that. One person is hurt from it.
They're gonna give us back and break up happy homes with homosexuality, but that's another thing. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The way that they negotiated that could have been, and then I can't really say too much because that's not my job. That's not my ministry. But just looking at it, it's just so hard to say, man.
And like the person that's the Marine that's over there, and they say that was a different situation. Again, I don't understand what I don't know, whatever.
Is that the guy that said was a spy? They're trying to say he was a spy.
They're trying to say he was a spy,
and he's been there longer.
Yeah, but again, so we give them a guy who's an arms dealer, and we can't get a person that they say is a spy. It's like the exchange. But hey, like I say, I don't want it to seem like, because I know someone loves her and glad, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's not a lot of people love her, and it's great that she's back. It's great that she's back, but we had to play that a little bit better.
Will she go back and play ball again?
I don't think she's ever going to be the same.
And she'll go to Italy this time.
I think if she would go back, it would be after Putin has left. It can't be under the same leadership. But to me, she's not going to be the same after this experience. Never. I think she's changed forever. So
I don't think she'll go back.
Say that again, JT.
I bet she don't like weed no more.
I heard somebody else say that. She probably stopped smoking now.
Yeah, that'll do it for me.
You a mess.
Either that or she just want to take it traveling with her.
Oh God.
Out of the country anyway.
You couldn't pay me to touch a joint. I'm sorry. It's not gonna happen. Oh no, it smells like weed in here. I'm finna leave.
Oh man.
I'm done. Oh Lord, my lesson. You a mess.
Lord. Listen, see, when you get these talkers on here and you end up going over your time like we do sometimes with That one right there. That one down there. That one over there. How you categorize?
I love when Dr. Scott come on. Me and Dr. Scott can climb. Dr. Scott is my
so listen. Next week, Auntie V is back. We are talking about yeah, you're right, Yvette. Lesson learned. Oh, we look like the Brady Bunch, Jason say.
There's a story.
Right.
Who was dreaming about 3 nappy-headed kids?
Whatever.
Have had hair of wool like their father.
Listen. Next week, Auntie V is here. We are talking about. I think Franz had all kind of questions before we got finished the other week with her. I think we might get into Bitcoin a little bit. Yep. That's one of Dr. Scott's areas. I think we're gonna talk about trusts.
Yep, that's a
we had talked about that. And still a little bit about your the income tax season coming up. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to post them on our social media sites so we can get those answered for you, or just make sure that you're tuned in and we can get those answers. So sometimes in the kitchen you got to cook up some healthy stuff.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we talking about income taxes. Which one of y'all gonna go put down $2,000 on the 1998 Camry? That 2006 Benz you wanted.
Right.
Which one of y'all can do that?
I'm trying to tell you. So listen, join us next week. We'll be right here 9:00. Same time next Thursday, just doing the dang thing like we do. With these guys, you just never know.
Me, I'm quiet, man. I don't bother nobody. Don't cause trouble. I don't bother nobody. Just the man that's on the mic. And when I walk up on the mic, I rock the mic. Right? Keep it.
Dude, I'm talking about, you never know. This has been Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations
that cook. That's what they do. Conversations that cook. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you turn on your notifications so it will let you know when we are on live. If you're watching us on Facebook, hit the like button. It will also let you know when we're on live and give you all of that. Again, if you got questions, post them to our social media sites. It is Kitchen Talk CTC on all social media platforms. And we'll be back next week talking about, what we talk about. We just do it. Money. Exactly. Talking about the money. Money. And that's our soundtrack to go out.
Hey, man, listen, Dr. Scott started rhyming. I started hitting him with a beat.
Oh, get these last comments.
See you next week.
All right. See y'all next week.
All right,
I think I'm gonna play our theme song to go out. I like it.
Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen Talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen Talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cook. Kitchen Talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen Talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cook. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk.